They laughed at you. One last time. Right now, as you listen to these words, something is shifting in the spiritual realm. Something your deriders can't see. Something they can't stop. And Kathryn Kuhlman knew exactly how to activate it. Do you feel it? That strange silence before a storm. As if the very air is thick with anticipation. As if the universe itself is holding its breath. Because your enemies are about to discover a spiritual law they ignored. A law Kathryn Kuhlman called the Protocol of Vindication. And when this law activates, there's no turning back. Let me tell you something that will chill you to the bone. In 1971, a journalist named Richard Morgan decided to destroy Kathryn Kuhlman's reputation. He wrote vicious articles, called her a fraud, publicly mocked the miracles she witnessed, scoffed at the faith of millions. Kathryn didn't retaliate, didn't sue, didn't defend herself publicly. She simply smiled and said something no one understood at the time. The silence before the storm is always the most terrifying. 48 hours later, Richard Morgan suffered a massive stroke. He lost his ability to speak. The man who used words as weapons was silenced forever. Coincidence? Kathryn Kuhlman knew a secret, a spiritual protocol few dared to employ. She understood the difference between forgiveness and vindication. Forgiveness is what you do for yourself. Vindication is what God does for you. And you need to know how to activate it. Because while you're here, feeling the sting of every mockery, every humiliation, every time they laughed at your faith, your hope, your dreams, they're out there living as if nothing has consequences. But harvest time is coming. Kathryn discovered that the spiritual realm operates on precise laws. Laws that cannot be broken. Laws that show no favoritism. And one of those laws is, whoever mocks the anointed reaps what they sow. Have you noticed? Whenever you're about to experience something sacred, something special, someone always shows up to laugh, to belittle, to make you feel foolish for believing. In school, when you talked about your faith, they laughed. At work, when you mentioned prayer, they laughed. In your family, when you shared your revelations, they laughed. And each laugh was like an arrow, each mockery, a dagger, each slight, a public humiliation. I know exactly how you feel. That burning anger, that feeling of injustice that keeps you awake at night, that urge to scream. One day you'll see. One day you'll regret it. Know this, that day is closer than you think. Kathryn Kuhlman understood a truth that most preachers avoid, a politically incorrect truth, a truth that bothers the nice people of faith. The truth is, God is not neutral when someone attacks his children. God doesn't sit on the fence when they mock your faith. God isn't impartial when they humiliate those who seek him with a sincere heart. God has favorites, and you are one of them. But there's something you need to understand about how this protocol works, because it's not automatic, it's not instantaneous, and it's definitely not random. There's a spiritual science behind vindication. Kathryn discovered that there are 3 elements that need to be aligned for divine retribution to manifest. 3 elements she called the Trinity of Vindication. The first element is purity of motive. You can't be seeking revenge out of wounded pride. It can't be because of a bruised ego. It has to be for something greater. It has to be because they're attacking God's work through you. When they mock your faith, they're not mocking you. They're mocking him. When they belittle your anointed dreams, they're not belittling you. They're belittling what he planted in your heart. When they make you feel foolish for believing in miracles, they're not attacking your intelligence, they're attacking his intelligence. And that changes everything. The second element is strategic silence. Kathryn learned that responding immediately breaks the protocol. Human revenge spoils divine vindication. When you retaliate in the flesh, you take it out of his hands and put it in yours. And your hands are too small for the vengeance they deserve. Remember what Jesus did when they mocked him on the cross? Silence. When they spat in his face? Silence. When they ridiculed his authority? Silence. But then came the resurrection. Then came the irrefutable evidence. Then came the vindication that echoed throughout eternity. The third element is the activation of specific faith. It's not just believing that God will do something. It's believing specifically in what He will do. It's visualizing with faith the exact retribution each scoffer will receive. Kathryn had a notebook, a secret notebook where she wrote the name of each person who attacked her and the specific type of vindication she asked God to apply. She called it the Book of Divine Reckoning. And you know what's most impressive? 92% of the vindications she wrote in that notebook manifested within a year. 92%. Now answer me one thing. Can you remember the face of each person who mocked you? Can you still taste the bitterness of each humiliation? Then you're ready to activate the protocol because something is happening right now that they don't know. Something they can't see. Something they can't stop. The silence before the storm has never been so deafening. Do you feel the electricity in the air? That tension that comes when something big is about to happen? As if the universe itself is preparing for a reckoning. Because that's exactly what's happening. Your mockers woke up this morning as they always did. Had breakfast, went to work, laughed at someone, mocked something sacred, lived another day as if they were untouchable. But they don't know that today is different. Today you discovered the protocol. Today you understood the rules of the spiritual game. Today you learned how to activate the vindication that Kathryn Kuhlman used for decades. And once activated, there's no turning it off. Let me tell you about Sarah Mitchell. In 1973, she was a young pastor in a small town. She dreamed of opening a church. She had genuine faith, a pure heart, a true calling. But she had a problem. The mayor of the town, a man named James Crawford. James couldn't stand the idea of a woman preaching. He did everything to stop her, denied permits, created legal obstacles, and worse, he laughed at her publicly. He called her the crazy woman who talks to God. The humiliation was constant, public, cruel. Sarah almost gave up. She almost believed she was crazy. She almost concluded that God had forgotten her, until she discovered Kathryn Kuhlman. Until she learned the protocol. Sarah applied the 3 elements. She purified her motive. She embraced strategic silence. She activated specific faith. And then came the storm. James Crawford was caught in a corruption scandal. He lost the mayor's office. He lost his reputation. He lost his family. And he lost his voice. Literally, a rare disease attacked his vocal cords. The man who used his voice to destroy an anointed one became voiceless. And Sarah built the largest church in the region. Today, she pastors over 5,000 people. People James Crawford could have influenced if he still had a voice. The vindication wasn't just justice. It was redistribution. What was taken from her was returned, multiplied. And that's not all. Because Kathryn Kuhlman's protocol goes beyond simple retribution. It operates a complete inversion, a switch of positions, a turnaround that makes the last first and the first last. Her deriders won't just lose what they have. They'll see you receive exactly what they tried to prevent you from having. Did they mock your dreams? You will achieve them while they watch. Did they laugh at your faith? You will see miracles while they experience tragedies. Did they diminish your authority? You will have influence while they become irrelevant. Because there's a spiritual law that few know. A law that Kathryn discovered studying the scriptures with a perspective no one else had. The law of inverted position. Everything they used against you will become for you. Every word they hurled to destroy you will return to edify you. Every humiliation they inflicted upon you will transform into exaltation. It's not magic. It's not positive thinking. It's divine justice operating through precise spiritual laws. And now you have access to these laws. But there's something else you need to know. Something Kathryn whispered only to her closest disciples. Something she called the secret of divine timing. Because vindication doesn't happen when you want it. It happens when it's most devastating for them and most glorious for you. Sometimes it takes days. Sometimes it takes months. In rare cases, it takes years. But when it arrives, it's always at the perfect moment. The moment they're most confident. The moment they least expect it. The moment the fall hurts the most. And you know why? Because God isn't just interested in correcting them. He's interested in educating everyone who's watching. Your vindication isn't just about you. It's a public demonstration of what happens when someone messes with one of his children. It's a warning, a precedent, a lesson that will echo far beyond your personal situation. When your deriders fall, other people will remember. They'll think twice before mocking the next anointed one. They'll hesitate before laughing at the next person of faith. Your vindication will protect other people from going through what you went through. And that makes it all the more powerful. Now pause for a moment. Close your eyes if you're in a safe place. Breathe deeply. Feel the silence, that heavy silence, as if something huge is approaching. It's not your imagination. It's real. The protocol has already been activated. From the moment you understood the laws, from the moment you purified your motive, from the moment you decided to trust in his timing, now it's just a matter of time. And meanwhile, while the storm is brewing, you have something to do, something crucial, something that will determine the intensity of the vindication you will receive. You need to prepare for what comes next. What I'm going to reveal to you now is what Kathryn Kuhlman kept as her most precious secret, what she called the 4 actions of vindication. 4 specific things you must do while the storm is brewing. And pay attention. Each action has an exact timing. Do them out of order and the protocol breaks. The first action is called the sacred inventory. You're going to get a pen and paper right now, and you're going to write a list. But not just any list. The most specific list you've ever made in your life. The name of each person who mocked you. Approximate date. What exactly they did. What it cost you. And here's the crucial part. What you want the vindication to do to each of them. Be specific. Be detailed. Be exact. Don't write, I want him to repent. Write, I want him to lose the promotion he got by sabotaging me and to publicly apologize to me. Don't write, I want her to stop humiliating me. Write, I want her to face the same humiliation she caused me, in front of the same people who witnessed my humiliation. Kathryn discovered that God responds to specificity. The more detailed your request, the more precise the vindication. Because you're not making a wish list, you're creating a spiritual contract. The second action is the fast of silence. For 21 days, you won't talk about your deriders to anyone. You won't complain about them. You won't tell friends what they did. You won't post on social media about injustices. Total silence on the matter. Because every word you speak about them disperses the energy of vindication. Every complaint diminishes the accumulated power. Every outburst weakens the protocol. Kathryn used to say, when you talk about the wound, it keeps bleeding. When you stop talking, it becomes a scar. And God uses scars as evidence in heavenly courts. Your 21 days of silence aren't passivity. They're strategy. They're an accumulation of power. They're preparation for what's coming. The third action is the prayer of transfer. Every day for 21 days, you will offer a specific prayer. A prayer that Kathryn adapted from the Psalms of David. A prayer that doesn't just ask for justice. It asks for redistribution. Father, what they took from me, return it double. What they tried to destroy in me, multiply. What they used against me, turn to my advantage. and what they denied me, grant it to me, while denying it to them. It's not revenge. It's redistributive justice. It's the universe rebalancing itself. It's the divine scales being adjusted. The fourth action is the visualization of victory. Every day for 21 days, before you sleep, you will spend 5 minutes visualizing your complete vindication. You will see yourself receiving everything they tried to prevent you from having. You will find yourself honored where they dishonored you. You will find yourself exalted where they humiliated you. And here's what will surprise you. You will also visualize them acknowledging your victory. You'll see yourself receiving the respect they denied you. Imagine yourself being admired by those who despised you. Because complete vindication isn't just them falling. It's them acknowledging they were wrong about you. Now I'm going to tell you about Marcus Rivera. Marcus was a young pastor in Los Angeles. He had a small church. He dreamed big. He preached with passion. He believed in miracles. But he had a problem. The pastor of the megachurch next door, a man named Robert Kane. Robert had 15,000 members. Marcus had 50. Robert had television. Marcus had a borrowed pulpit. Robert had influence. Marcus only had faith. And Robert found it amusing to publicly humiliate Marcus. At conferences, Robert cracked jokes about garage church pastors. In interviews, he laughed at unstructured dreamers. On social media, he posted memes about those who think they're big but are small. Everyone knew he was talking about Marcus. The humiliation was constant, systematic, cruel. Marcus almost gave up, almost closed the church, almost concluded that maybe he wasn't really called to the ministry. Until a lady from his church gave him a book about Kathryn Kuhlman, until he discovered the protocol. Marcus performed the 4 actions. He wrote the sacred inventory. He did the silence fast. He prayed the transfer prayer. He visualized the victory. And then the storm began in Robert Kane's life. First came a financial scandal, a federal investigation. They discovered that Robert had embezzled church funds. He lost his membership. He lost his television show. He lost his reputation. But that was only the beginning. Because at the same time Robert was falling, Marcus was rising. A millionaire businessman visited Marcus's small church. He converted. He decided to fund an expansion project. Marcus got a new temple. He got professional equipment. He gained visibility. In 6 months, Marcus's church had 1,000 members. In a year, it had 5,000. In 2 years, Marcus was on television. And Robert was unemployed, living in a rented apartment, watching Marcus on TV. The redistribution was complete. What was taken from one was given to the other. The positions were reversed. The vindication was total. But here's the part that will give you goosebumps. In the 3rd year, Robert showed up at Marcus's church during a service. In the middle of the sermon, he stood up. He asked for the microphone. And publicly, in front of 5,000 people, he apologized to Marcus. He acknowledged that he had been cruel. He admitted that Marcus had always been anointed. He declared that his fall was just. Marcus not only received vindication, he received public acknowledgement from the very man who humiliated him. The victory was so complete that even the enemy became a witness to it. And do you know why this happened? Why Marcus's vindication was so devastatingly perfect? Because Marcus understood something that few understand about divine timing. Kathryn Kuhlman discovered that there is a specific time on the spiritual calendar when vindications manifest with maximum force. A time when the veil between the natural and the supernatural becomes thinner. A time when divine justice flows with less resistance. She called it the season of spiritual harvest. And this season is beginning now. You feel it, don't you? That feeling that something is changing? As if the very air is different. As if the laws of physics are being rewritten. It's not your imagination. It's real. We are entering the season when accounts are settled, when injustices are corrected, when the last become first and the first become last, and your deriders are about to find out the hard way, because there's something they don't know, something they couldn't know, something no unbeliever can see. They think their words have no consequences. They believe their actions have no cost. They live as if the universe were neutral, but the universe is not neutral. The universe has a God, and that God has children, and these children are protected by laws they don't even imagine exist. Now let me tell you about the most powerful law of all, the law that Kathryn considered the foundation of the entire protocol of vindication, the law of spiritual sowing and reaping. Everything that is planted will be harvested, but not just in the same measure, multiplied, amplified, potentiated. A cruel word planted becomes a harvest of humiliation. An act of contempt planted becomes a harvest of irrelevance. A campaign of destruction planted becomes a harvest of annihilation. And the harvest time is determined by God. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it takes time, but it always happens. Always. And when it happens, it's always greater than the original offense. Because God is not just interested in balancing the books. He is interested in sending a message that echoes through generations, a message that makes others think twice before attacking one of his own. Your vindication isn't just about you. It's a public demonstration of his power. Now stop for a moment. Take a deep breath. Feel the electricity in the air. Can you feel the storm approaching? Because while you were here learning about the protocol, your critics were out there, planting more seeds. Seeds they will soon harvest. Seeds that will produce a harvest they never imagined possible. And you? You were here preparing to receive all that was promised to you. All that they tried to prevent. All that you always knew you deserved. The inversion is beginning. The silence before the storm is ending. And the storm is coming. But before it arrives completely, there's one last thing you need to know. The most important thing of all. The secret that Kathryn kept until her last days. The secret of how to recognize when vindication is beginning to manifest. Because it doesn't come all at once. It comes in waves, in signs, in small pieces of evidence that accumulate until they become irrefutable. First, you'll notice that they start losing small things. A project that didn't work out. An opportunity that slipped away. A person who distanced themselves. It may seem like coincidence, but it's not. Then you'll realize that they start facing the same problems they caused for you. The same difficulties. The same humiliations. The same closed doors. It may seem like irony, but it's not. So you'll see opportunities begin to arise for you. Things you weren't even seeking. People appearing out of nowhere to help you. Doors opening without you even knocking. It might seem like luck, but it's not. It's the protocol working. It's vindication manifesting. It's the redistribution beginning. And when you recognize these signs, when you know the storm has arrived, then you take the final action of the protocol. You stop asking for vindication, and you begin to thank God for it, because harvest time has come. And the harvest is always greater than the planting. Your deriders planted mockery. They will reap humiliation. They planted contempt. They will reap irrelevance. They planted destruction. They will reap annihilation. And you? You planted faith during the storm. You will reap glory after it. You planted hope during the darkness. You will reap light after it. You planted forgiveness during the pain. You will reap honor after it. The scales are being balanced. Justice is being served. Vindication is being delivered. And when it's all over, when your critics are fallen and you are exalted, when they're acknowledging they were always wrong about you, then you'll understand why Kathryn Kuhlman always smiled when someone attacked her. She didn't smile out of masochism. She smiled because she knew that every attack was actually a guarantee of future vindication, a divine promise that justice would come. And it always did. Now you know too. Now you can smile too, because your critics have just signed their own death warrant, and the execution has already begun. The eerie stillness before the storm is over. The storm has arrived, and when it passes, the world will be different. You will be on top. They will be beneath you. You will have the voice. They will be silenced. You will have the authority. They will be irrelevant, not because you wanted revenge, but because you activated vindication, not because you fought for it, but because you trusted in him for it, not because you forced justice, but because you waited for his timing, and the timing is now. Your critics are about to lose everything, and you are about to gain everything. Vindication isn't just justice, it's complete redistribution, it's total inversion, it's absolute victory, and it has already begun.